Shedeur Sanders. I'm pretty sure you've become well familiar with that name.
I am 100% like, I know what's going on in the sports because of this young black man.
So I do want to say this has probably been the first time that like the rest of the world, because I always end up watching like a lot of the draft or keeping up with it on my phone or whatever, has watched this far into the draft, NFL draft. I think this even actually was a record.
Everyone was on the edge of their seat because it was a grave injustice what happened.
We'll get into that. So Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, he was selected in the 5th round, I think 144th pick to the Cleveland Browns. That is the destitute place that all players go to essentially career die.
Yeah, but he can make it out eventually, no?
I mean, you can quote unquote make it out.
His dad is.
I mean, you can quote unquote make it out, but people are really upset about him falling in the draft. He was projected by a lot of the media to be a top 5, top 10 pick for someone to, choose him to lead their franchise this upcoming season.
Because of his talent.
See, this is the media. This is what I'm saying. The media is a little bit enamored by Deion. Remember how we talked about last time when Skip Bayless was talking about all this stuff, how great man Deion was and how, he was just this great epitome of a person. And I brought up the article about him choking his wife. And I was like, y'all are trying to paint somebody who has obvious flaws. Talking about him. So the thing about with Shedeur, like I said, the media projected him to be a top pick. But when you actually got into the weeds of the draft and the people who were making these decisions, they did not view him as a top pick. A lot of people would say that he was a day 3 pick. And I understand that. But what they'll argue is the quarterbacks that were selected before him, some of them guys may not have been as good as him. I disagree in regards to like Jackson Dart for the most part. Yeah, Jackson Dart. The other 2 guys, it was questionable. Anybody could have, they all could have been selected.
He could have been earlier.
Potentially it could have, but the thing was, he didn't play along. He didn't do a lot of the things that a player of his caliber should have had to do.
He didn't shuck and jive for the white man.
See, no, and that's what I hate that we keep trying to. I know you're joking, but people are really saying that, and I don't agree with that. It's a shucking and jiving. The thing is this, like,
I heard that he had a meeting with the Giants, showed up late, and was disrespectful during the meeting.
That was something that was said. They said that he wasn't prepared, that the coach called him out on not being prepared. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of got into a little, not really big thing, but a 1-2 about it. There was other people who came out, multiple people now have came out and said, he felt entitled. He felt like he was going to control the organization that he wanted to go to. Some people said it made them feel small. Mm-hmm. Trying to have a conversation with him regarding that. To be honest, we have to take a lot of things into consideration. His coach has been his father almost his entire professional career, but his entire development as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And when you're a quarterback, that requires a lot of personal development. People have to really kind of be on you. You have to be kind of the center of things because you make a lot of the stuff happen in regards, especially the offense. So when you see a player who has been essentially, for lack of a better word, coddled his entire development by being able to do what he wants because he know his father is not going to take him out. His father is not going to stop him from doing it. His father is going to make sure plays are called that are his strengths and that they highlight that.
Because he's trying to get him into a certain position.
Yeah. So
they on the same team.
You can't look at that as another coach and say, well, can I bring that in? And if I do bring that in, is my job going to now be at risk? Because his father is a coach. Because you want to have him every Saturday talking about, what Shedeur did this week or Shedeur did that last week or why isn't Shedeur in the game? These are going to be conversations that's going to be had. And if you're the starter, now you have Deion Sanders, a legend, coming at you. And to just be honest, my personal opinion, Shedeur just wasn't that good. A lot of that stuff was just manipulated and organized for him to thrive. There's a video that's out with him and Cam Ward was the quarterback who was the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yo, yeah, you got the award for the highest percentage, but you was throwing short passes. You was throwing screens and dunks and all that, dink and dunking. You wasn't throwing the ball downfield. And that's a real flaw in his game is his decision making, how long he holds the ball, being able to really push the ball downfield. He's a good player overall, but he's an average player relative to his competition. And there's just a lot of hype about him because people love Deion.
What was Deion's position when he played?
He was a cornerback.
Okay.
So he played on defense.
I don't know what that means.
He played on defense. He stopped the wide receivers from catching the ball, essentially. People are just been caught up in the Shedeur life because I don't think that I don't really think they're serious. Because like they didn't have a manager. So that's why you had the prank call happen.
Yeah, I saw that. So the son of which
Falcons
the
defensive
Falcons,
coordinator. Yep.
Yeah, called him, recorded himself calling Shedeur and everything, just stupid and guilty, and called him and tried to make it seem like he was being drafted to be the quarterback for the Falcons
or
the Saints. What the fuck? What thought it was the Falcons coordinator?
No, he's the Falcons coordinator, but his son found the numbers because it wasn't just Shedeur's number.
Okay, so he wasn't calling on behalf of the Falcons.
He got a bunch of players' numbers, and they were calling players, making jokes, saying like, "Hey, oh, you about to get drafted by this team," and then lying and saying, "Oh, nope, no, you're not gonna get drafted." And Shedeur was one of the people on there. And the reason
he was
why
streaming too.
Yeah, he was streaming when it happened. He was streaming the whole draft. But the reason why this happened was because Shedeur didn't have an agent. So generally your agents will handle that kind of communication aspect so that a number doesn't get out. But when you don't have an agent, you have to send it directly to the league. So now you're on this list, and that list can easily be compromised. There was a journalist who was talking about it and was like, I was surprised how like easily this could be compromised, and that I was seeing the names that I was seeing on here from the draft. Like, he was like, this is nuts. But when you don't have that draft, when you're not playing within the lines, and that's what I'm saying, I don't want to call it shucking and jiving, but at the same token, when your son isn't a Heisman winner, it wasn't like he won every accolade at the position. He wasn't playing against the best competition. He's not in the SEC. You can't sit here and think that you can pull your dick around. You're not. He was not that kind of player. Deion, you were at your time. Your son is not that kind of player, and you don't have that ability. Like I hate people comparing like Cam Newton and Johnny Manziel and all of these other guys, Baker Mayfield, to him. When do y'all not understand? Them men was Heisman Trophy winners. They were the best players in college football that year. That was not Shedeur.
Was he close?
No, he wasn't even in the top of like the major contenders for the trophy.
So he wasn't a contender at all?
No, he wasn't a contender this year for the Heisman.
Yeah, so it does make sense that he wouldn't be a top draft.
He's just, like I said, he's just not that guy. And for y'all to put racism on it, for y'all to say all of this other goofy stuff, it's no, bro. He didn't come prepared. He wasn't trying to actually show that he wanted to be involved in these teams. They was telling teams that they didn't want to get picked, like by his way he carried himself in an interview. Like he was telling teams he didn't want to get picked. A good example of coming in with good character. So the guy who got picked before Shedeur, who was a quarterback too for the Browns, he's 5'11" quarterback. He, probably not going to be a star in this league. But when he sat down in his interviews, he was telling people, I know at this time I'm going to be a development. I got to be, something that's going to be a work in progress. But if you believe in me, I'm going to do my job in making sure the QB is going to be ready, making sure the team's going to be motivated. I'm going to be a team player. And that's a guy that you're not upset to try to put a flyer on.
Yeah. Because when you pick a quarterback, too, you're kind of picking like a leader of the team. No, not not like the captain.
Essentially.
But he's the leader of the team. And if he's cocky and if he thinks that he's like the best thing since sliced bread, then that's not an ego that you want on the team, because it's probably not going to mesh well. It's going to cause more problems than not. And you want the team to have chemistry. Regardless of what you're doing, if you have a team, you want chemistry within that team. And you don't want one person to come in blowing it up.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's definitely true. And the thing about it is, you also don't want to come into an organization where the only reason you're there is because the owner drafted you. And that's what's happening too with them. Is kind of the only reason he got picked. If you look at when they drafted him, they showed a screen of the draft war room for the Browns. The GM, not happy. You just can see their body language. The coach, no emotion. Everybody just sitting there pissed off because you can tell it came from the top. Hey, he's still available. Get him now. And it's not their plan. That's not who they wanted to see in there. And now you have the specter of your owner again, who, granted, this is the same owner who signed Deshaun Watson to $231 million guaranteed after having multiple sexual assault cases while being the quarterback of the Houston Texans. So he also was the one who told him to draft Johnny Manziel, who flamed out for him after like 2 seasons. So like he doesn't have a track record of being good at this.
Johnny Manziel is the guy. This is how I know people who was dating Bree, Nick Cannon's baby mother.
Yep.
That's how I know that man, because I was like, that sounds familiar.
This is the Browns. Who's who they pick? So I don't think Shedeur is actually in a good place to win. I don't see it. I think he's going to, honestly, his peak for me and what I believe is going to be like a multi-year journeyman, meaning he's going to play on different teams. He may start here and there, but he'll never be like a focal point in the football league. To me,
I wish that this went a little bit better, like aesthetically and stuff, because I am a very big fan of black nepotism. I love Bronny and LeBron. It's Bronny, right? Mm-hmm. Bronny and LeBron on the Lakers. I love Blue Ivy strutting down that stage with her mama and Rumi on that stage too. We're not going to talk about the other baby. We going to talk about who was on that stage. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love Big Baller Brand. Okay, that's not really nepotism because their daddy wasn't in the NBA, right? But
he played in the NFL for a little bit, but
I love that. I just love the black families doing amazing things. And I love Deion and both of his sons being in the NFL, because his other son was signed as like a free agent or whatever after the draft, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So I like when that happens in general. And I want for Bronny to get better and dominate in the NBA. I want for Shedeur to prove all of these whites wrong. I want the Browns to fucking win the Super Bowl next year.
The Browns. Yeah, man. Like I said, you went to the perfect place to be some shit as the Browns. So salute to you, man.
Yeah. Like what is that name even? Like Brown Bears? Is that their thing?
Like that's like honestly, I don't believe there was any collusion being done in regards to like NFL owners or coaches.
They were like, this black man is too successful and his black son is gonna come in and be too, we gotta stop this black family from being black and excellent. That's exactly what was happening in the boardrooms. As
we draft other black men that have been excellent time in and time.
No, but he can be excellent for the first time around, but his son can't.
Oh my goodness. Can I just say this one part too, and then we can wrap up this part? It was so funny. The fact y'all thought the Giants was going to draft a nigga is hilarious to me.
Oh, Jackson Dart is not a black man?
No, he's a white boy from
Ole Miss. I take that back.
He's the quarterback from Ole Miss. And if you don't know why that's important, Eli Manning, he went to Ole Miss, and that was the person everybody kept trying to compare him to in regards to like, because that's what Archie did. Archie told the Chargers, if you draft my son, not gonna play for you, and we just gonna put our name back in.
Have the Giants not had a black quarterback?
The last time they had a black quarterback start, the coach got fired afterwards.
Wow.
That's something you can look up to. I'm not even bullshit.
Wow, it's New York.
It was Geno Smith was the quarterback, and the coach got fired shortly after.
Whatever. It's just because New York is diverse don't mean that the people running the Giants are diverse.
No
obviously.
way. They come from like the old racist NFL.
It's old money, yeah.
Like they from that portion of the NFL. Like we going like my team growing up, the Commanders. We was the last team to let black people play.
Y'all were also just the Redskins.
The president had to say, like, can you put niggas on the team, please?
Please.
That shit was so crazy, yo. We had to crack.
They run faster and they're stronger.
And then guess what? Like 2 years later, we like won the Super Bowl. And guess what? We was the first team to win the Super Bowl with a black quarterback. After years of racism, staunch racism.
See what happens with inclusion?
Oh man, that was crazy. We didn't deserve that.